So where do the Houston Rockets go from here? They finished second in the Western Conference. Probably surprised a lot of people. And Ime Udoka looks like one of the best coaches in the NBA. But the offense stalled out. Their defense was fantastic. They played Golden State really tough in this 7-game battle. They came back down 3-1. Van Fleet put on his Toronto Raptors 2019 jersey. I'm convinced. After game 3, the man was fantastic. But in game 7, they fell short. The offense stalled out. And it exposed a lot of things about Houston. Number one, they don't have, you could say, a reliable number one option. Now, Sengun could fill that role at times, but is he their number one option going forward? Because the leading scorer for the Rockets in the regular season was Jalen Green. And Jalen Green was really bad in this series. He only had one good game, and that was game 2. But overall, Jalen Green shot 37% from the field. That is really bad. 29% from the three-point line. But let's look at the regular season and just compare that. Obviously, Jalen Green was the leading scorer. He wasn't in the playoffs. He shot 42% from the field, 35% from 3. Jalen Green's not a bad player. He's just inconsistent. And he's very athletic. He's really good when he's going downhill and with his pull-up jumpers. But what else can he do out there? Because if his offense is non-existent, he's not playmaking. He's not rebounding the ball. I mean, he had, average 5 rebounds. That's actually not bad. But his impact didn't feel like it was needed out there. In fact, in the last 5 minutes of clutch situations, you had Udoka benching Jalen Green and bringing in Jabari Smith. So you have your leading scorer in the regular season not be trusted in moments where you're going to need a bucket. And you were relying on guys like Van Fleet. Steven Adams was fantastic this series. Just made it tough out there for the Warriors. Tari Eason, Dylan Brooks. These are role players. Now, Amen Thompson, he could be the guy who takes that number one option spot. Because if he develops a jump shot, Amen Thompson is going to be so good in the NBA. And I think he will take that lead. So for me, Houston, the biggest question is their offense. And do you target somebody in the offseason? I heard, Kevin Durant come up. I would not touch Kevin Durant. He's turning 37 in September. And I'm not saying Kevin Durant isn't a great player, but you're trying to fit the timeline of guys who are young. Like Sengun is not even hit his prime yet, and he will get better as a basketball player. You look at a guy like, Jalen Green, maybe you keep him for one more season and see if he can develop a little bit further. And I think this would be year 4 for Jalen Green. His numbers have been going up, and maybe at 24 years old, he'll take that leap you've been waiting for. I'm sorry, this would be his 5th season. So do you wait another year of Jalen Green's development and see if you can get more production out of him? Maybe he gets to you, to 25 points a night, 5 assists and 7 rebounds. And then all of a sudden, Jalen Green, his field goal percentage goes up to like 47%. Now he's more consistent out there. Or do you move off him now because you want to contend with the Oklahoma City Thunder? But the Thunder are also young as well. You look at all their guys in the roster, Sengun, he's only 22 years old. Amen Thompson, 22. Again, you have to figure out if we get Kevin Durant, we're speeding up that timeline to go out and win a championship. And is that a good idea? Do you trade off Eason? I wouldn't do that because he's a really good defender. And then you still have Jabari Smith, who was solid in this series, who is only 21 years old. So you've got guys under 25 who are core pieces. And do you trade for KD? I would consider Devin Booker because, again, he's younger than Kevin Durant. I think he's 28, going to be turning 29. That fits better along their timeline. Obviously, you do want to go out there and win. So he'll be, he's 28 now. He's turning 29 in October. So I would trade for Devin Booker. That would be the ideal move because then you upgrade from Jalen Green to Devin Booker. The question is, who else are you going to give up? Because it's not going to be a straight trade for Jalen Green and Devin Booker. You're probably going to have to give up some of your core pieces, some draft picks. Maybe you give up Eason, you give up Jabari Smith. And again, is that worth it right now? Because maybe you wait another year, especially with the new CBA rules. If you reach the second apron, your options are limited. We're seeing that with the Phoenix Suns. We're going to see it with the Boston Celtics. There are reports that the Celtics are going to have to move off one of their core pieces because they can't pay everybody this offseason. So the Rockets just got to figure that out. You're still right now second in the West. That's where you finish. You just need to see some improvements from the offense where you got to expect Sengun to take another leap on offense. You got to expect Amen Thompson to take a leap on offense. If those guys are better. And let's say Jalen Green fits more of that third option, or maybe, no disrespect, maybe he's a better six man where his role changes, but he's more of a bucket getter. He doesn't have to worry about leading the offense. Maybe Jalen Green becomes a better player because of that, and he fits on Houston's roster better. So there's just some questions here. I think Houston defensively is so good, and defensively they're really good. The front court is solid, so I'm not worried about that. I'm just concerned about their offense because the half-court offense is dreadful. And outside of just VanVleet knocking down threes and then getting offensive rebounds and second chance points and running in transition, obviously in the playoffs, the game does slow down, so you don't get as many opportunities to run on the fast break and get easy transition baskets. So there's some questions for Houston. Are they in a bad spot? No. I just think they got to be very careful with these trade rumors and trying to engage in them because at the end of the day, maybe you just wait another year. I'm all about process rather than just rushing things because it's just sweeter that way. And also because you don't want to give up on your guys prematurely because what if Jalen Green goes to another team and becomes an all-star player? Now you look really bad in trading for a guy like Devin Booker or Kevin Durant, and let's just say you don't get to the finals. I mean, it's a risk either way, but maybe you hold on to your assets another year and you wait for another player to become available that fits Sengun and Ben Thompson's timeline better. Maybe Booker is that answer. Maybe he's not. That's what the Rockets got to figure out. They have draft picks. They've got pieces that are going to be attractive to other teams out there who are looking to add role players or looking to move off contracts. They just got to figure out which direction they're going to go in. I love him in Thompson. I love Sengun, Steven Adams, VanVleet. These guys fit really well. And Easton's really good defensively. So is, Jabari Smith can knock down shots. So you got to expect Houston's offense to get better next year. So if this core roster improves, maybe just run it back one more year. And if you don't like what you see from Jalen Green, or maybe you bring back Jalen Green, let him build up his trade value so you get some solid players in return and draft capital. And then you flip that for a superstar. Just different things you can consider. I'm not sure if I want a Devin Booker. I think he's really good, but maybe I want a guy at age 26 instead of age 29. Like just different things like that to think about that I think Houston needs to consider here. I think Devin Booker would be great for them, but they just got to think things through because you can get a guy in return and you think like, okay, we're now instant championship contenders, but it doesn't work out. And then you rush things instead of just waiting it out and seeing how this roster really performs. Because again, Sengun and Amen Thompson, they're not even in their prime yet. So we got to see how they develop. Even Jalen Green, he hasn't reached his prime. I know he's in his fourth season, but maybe in year 5, he finally figures it all out. And if you trade him now, you might regret it. So it's definitely not an easy situation to be in. But I think for Houston, they're still in a good spot, in my opinion, because, obviously the fans want to win championships, but at the same time, got a good young core. You finish second in the West. You expect the offense to get better. However, if you want to be aggressive, I have no problem with that. You're trying to compete in the West. You're trying to stay ahead of the game, and you get Devin Booker, you're right there. No doubt about it. Devin Booker, you have him next to Sengun, and you have him next to Amen Thompson. That's going to be a really nasty big three. But we shall see how it all plays out. But I love where Houston's at right now. They're heading the right direction. They had a really good season, just tough. They lost to the Warriors after coming back from 3-1. I really thought they could have put out Game 7. Just the offense stalled. And it's just the same stories. They struggle in the half court. They can't generate enough offense. So they got to figure out what they're going to do with this roster. Maybe you move off VanVleet. Maybe you move off Dylan Brooks. I'm just throwing ideas out there just to maybe upgrade the offense and give up a little bit on defense, but it balances things out. So we shall see how it all plays out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about what does Houston need to do next? What's the next move they should make in the offseason? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.